Okay, good morning everyone in Chazak. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Friday morning, Erev Shabbat Kodesh, as we are getting ready for a very special Shabbat. First of all, today, Friday, is the Yortzeit of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, we know, passed away on Zayin Adar. It's not written explicitly in the Torah, but we do know it through tradition. We know it from math, working backwards from when he died, and the Jews waiting 30 days mourning, and we entered Eretz Yisrael with Yehoshua ben Nun. So the date leads to Zayin Adar, which is today. It's a very special day, very beautiful day, a very powerful, holy day to pray, to learn, to connect to Moshe's midah, the midah of Netzach. Netzach means eternity. Moshe brought down the Torah, which was eternity. The Torah is eternal. The Torah never changes. The Torah is perfect. Moshe Rabbeinu brought down a perfect Torah. And it's about the idea of Netzach, of trying to become victorious and eternal in our strength, in our midot, in our avodat Hashem, in growing, whatever challenges we have, whatever we're struggling with, we should try to learn to become master over those temptations, not flip-flopping, not wish-washing, not sometimes yes, sometimes no, but commitment, consistency. That is the midah of Netzach, that sometimes we have to be able to reach a certain level that our tests are no longer tests, that we've graduated from the temptations that we used to struggle with once upon a time. This is the midah of Moshe, and this is what today is all about. As we enter the Zayin Adar today, many people did a special learning last night, like we do on Shavuot, a similar idea of staying up and reading certain passages, paragraphs, and pieces from our literature. Tomorrow, Shabbat, is a very special Shabbat. Like we mentioned yesterday's class, tomorrow is Shabbat Zachor. It's called Zachor based on the reading that we're going to read. Besides for the weekly paragraph, Perashah of Perashat Tetzaveh, we also are going to read at the end, the last aliyah of tomorrow's morning reading, a special reading that we're going to take out a second Sefer Torah from, and we're going to read from all the way the end of the Sefer Torah, Perashat Ki Tetzeh. So turn to the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy. We're going to read from chapter 25, right near the end. Perashat Ki Tetzeh, the last 3 pesukim. And they are as follows. Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek. Right? Everyone bangs when you hear Amalek. Baderech remember what Amalek did to you when you left Egypt. Asher karecha baderech vayzanev becha kol hanecheshalim acharecha ve'ata ayef ve'yageya ve'lo yareh Elohim. He happened upon you on the road when you were leaving Egypt, and he attacked all those who were in the back, and you were tired, and you were exhausted. Ve'lo yareh Elohim, but he did not fear God. Ve'haya v'ani Adonai Elohecha lecha mikol oyebecha misaviv ba'aretz she'Adonai Elohecha noten lecha nachala l'rishta timche et zecher Amalek mitachat hashamayim lo Tishkach. Okay, those were the 3 pesukim. The last pasuk, just to translate it, and it will be, says Hashem, in the future, when you will have peace from all your enemies around you, then you will have to make sure to wipe out the memory of Amalek from under the heaven. Lo tishkach, don't forget. End of paragraph. And so here we have 3 pesukim. Remember and don't forget what Amalek did to you when you left Egypt and you were weak, and he came and he attacked you out of nowhere when you were tired, and he didn't fear God. Don't ever forget, and one day make sure that you wipe them out. Not now, not the time. You're not in position, but the day will come that you will be in the position where the stars will line up and everything will be in place, and you'll have that chance. And the truth is, we did have that chance later on in history with Shaul HaMelech, with King Saul, where God sends him to go wipe out Amalek once and for all. Unfortunately, he messed up in his mission. He failed. He didn't do what he was supposed to. And again, that was also yesterday's class about Shaul's failure. But either way, what exactly? And this is what we're reading tomorrow in Shul. And there's a mitzvah Zachor. There's a mitzvah to remember. Just like there's a mitzvah to Zachor et Yom HaShabbat, there's a mitzvah to remember Shabbat. And how do we remember the Shabbat? By doing Kiddush. So there's a mitzvah to remember Amalek, and we remember it by reading it out loud in the synagogue once a year. And we could have chosen any week of the year to read it out loud once a year. The rabbis chose this week, Shabbat, right before Purim, which makes the most sense, because it's the Shabbat that Purim is the holiday that we almost were wiped out by Amalek, who came all the way again to fight us, to kill us. Haman, his great-great-great-grandson. And so it was Amalek, it was Haman, today it's other people. And therefore we pick this week, Purim, where we read about Amalek. A really beautiful, important Shabbat to be in synagogue. It's a mitzvah de oraita for men and for women to be in the synagogue this Shabbat and to hear those words read out loud from a kosher Torah scroll. Okay? Who was Amalek? What did they want? What do they represent? Many people fought us. We fought Ammon, Moab, Sihon, Og, Bil'am. There's something special about Amalek that God says, don't forget what they did to you. More than any other nation. Other people are bad. But Amalek is different. Amalek, my friends, represents not only a physical nation. Amalek, our rabbis tell us, what do they represent? Look at Rashi. What does it mean? Asher karecha baderech. That he, karecha baderech. Derech means the road. Karecha means, I'm not sure what it means. Rashi says, Leshon mikre. Simply it means he happened upon you. Amalek happened to cross your path. Davar aher, another answer. Lashon kor, from the word kar, cold. Tzannancha vehifshirecha mirtihatcha. Says Rashi, you know what Amalek does? He cools you off. You're roteach. Sometimes in life you'll be fire. You'll be inspired. You'll be pumped. You get an idea. You want to do. You want to accomplish. New year, new you. 2025, this is it. I'm getting married. I feel it. This is the year. I even got the special talit from the rabbi, and I did the tinfoil thing. I did everything. All of a sudden, something happens. You get cooled off. It could be maybe a date that didn't go well. Maybe a date that didn't go at all because the guy or the girl didn't show up. They canceled on you. And all of a sudden, this little Amalek in your head pops in and cools you off. Karecha. Cold. You were hot, you were fire, you were ready to conquer. And all of a sudden, he comes in. Karecha baderech. And he cools you off. That is what Amalek is. Shehayu ha'omot yereim. Because the nations of the world were afraid of us. No one wanted to touch us when we left Egypt. 10 plagues, splitting of the sea. Nobody messed with us. Who's going to touch us? The Jewish people. We just defeated the world's strongest empire, Egypt at the time. Everyone's just amazed, awe-inspired, respect, fear, dread. Shameu amim yirgazun. We read in the Az Yashir. The nations heard and they shook. The world shook. The world, we were untouchable. We were invincible. When Yoshua 40 years later went with the spies, he sent spies to go check it out Israel. 40 years later when Moshe died and we were ready to go in with Joshua, they went and they saw Rahav, a lady in Israel, in Canaan, and she said, we are petrified from you guys. You guys don't know what you did. We're shaking. So the whole world was yareh. Ubazen, all of a sudden comes this little wise guy, Amalek. Vehitchil ver'a makom le'acherim. And he starts showing everyone else that they're not so serious. You don't have to fear them so much. They're not really as amazing as you think. Mashal le'ambati rota'at. This can be compared to a boiling tub. She'en kol beriya yechola lered betocha. No one would dare go into this hot tub. Ba ben Belial, all of a sudden the wise guy came. Kafatz ve'al betocha. He jumps into the hot bath, boiling bathtub. Afal pisha nichve. The crazy thing is, what happens to this kid who jumps in? He gets burned. But psychologically, hikraota bifnei ahirim. But he lowered the temperature in everyone else's eye. The kid got burned, got killed. He's gone. The hot water won. But there is a little but. He was able to accomplish on a very small level, lowering everyone else's admiration, respect for this bathtub. Now it's not so impossible. Somebody tries to climb, you see these free solo, these mountain climbers that they climb without any gear, without any rope. Crazy, right? They climb hanging on to tiny pieces of rock with their tiny tips of their finger, tiny parts of their shoe, so that they can have a 2-3 point attachment to the mountain without literally no ropes. You have to watch these things. The documentary is nuts. They have like this little pouch of white powder in their back. They put their hand to make sure there's no moisture, and they grab onto the rocks and they're climbing. And it's literally life and death. And a person tries to climb it, and he may fall and die. But all of a sudden, everyone else sees, and they say, okay, I could do this. Amalek is that, but in the reverse. Amalek comes and he fights the Jews, and he dies, but everyone else says, okay, maybe I could do this. Amalek is a person, it's an idea, it's a voice in your head, it's maybe a friend, maybe it's a relative, hopefully no one that really likes you. But it's a person that could come and say, you are not cut out for success. You're not good enough. You're not going to make it. You're not worthy of running a crazy company. You can't become a happy person in life. You're not going to get good grades. You're not going to get into a good college. You're not going to get married. And they put doubts. That's what Amalek does. He comes and he sprinkles doubt. Safek. That's what he does. And he's perfect. Actually, the word Amalek numerically, Ayin Mem Lu Lamed Kof. Ayin is 70, Mem is 40, is 110. Lamed is 30, is 140, and Kof is 100, is 240, is numerically Safek, doubt. Samech 60, Pei 80 is 140, and Kof again, 100, 240. Amalek Safek. Amalek comes and that's what he does. He tries to put doubt. Maybe you're not really cut out for this. Maybe you cannot be successful. Maybe you're not worthy. Maybe Hashem doesn't really love you. Maybe your prayers are going nowhere. You're high, you're inspired, you're ready. And then boom, he comes and he tells you no. It gets you depressed, gets you wondering, gets you doubting. And the crazy thing is Amalek loses at the end. They lost. You're a loser. But it doesn't matter. He doesn't mind to lose as long as you lose as well. He gets burned, but as long as you stop bubbling, he won. That was his goal. His goal wasn't to defeat you. Amalek's goal is to just get you to cool off. When you play in these tournaments, you have one guy's job. You watch a race car, NASCAR. It's not always the goal of the driver to win, by the way, because there's teams. So sometimes the driver's job is just to get maybe his teammate to come ahead and win. Yeah? Amalek's job is not to beat you. He just needs you to cool off. Karecha baderech. That's all he does. And if he does, he wins. Psychologically, slow down. And in life, there will be people like this. There are people that are going to be laughing at you, that are going to make remarks, that are going to tell you things, all in the name of trying to help. I'm just trying to help. Just trying to help. And they're going to tell you something. And maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. It's irrelevant. Because now someone has a critique on me, someone has advice for me, someone has what to say. Why are you telling that to me? Why am I not? What are you trying to insinuate? What are you trying to tell me? That I'm not doing a good job? Well, you give me advice because it could be better? Well, it's not perfect? And then you get in your own head. And then we start thinking, maybe I can't learn. Maybe I can't grow. Maybe I can't achieve. And we get in our own head. And it came because a guy said something. And again, the guy was trying to help. And the guy in his life would never try to pull you down. But sometimes Amalek comes in and says, look, you see, even he knows you can't do it. You're not as good as that other person. You're not as pretty as that other person. Who would go out with you? Why would any guy go with you? Why would any girl want you? You're not that wealthy. You're not that good looking or smart or interesting or fun to be with. Amalek. Safik. People in life are going to laugh at you, say things, whatever it is. Whatever it is. And that's cynics, scoffers, doubters, haters, naysayers. In life, you can't give any attention to those guys. We can't allow them to interfere with our dreams. That's Amalek. Wipe them out, says the Torah. Get rid of them. And by the way, the crazy thing is that David HaMelech talks about these people in his first opening sentence of his book. Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halach ba'atzat resha'im ubderech hata'im lo amad umoshav letzim lo yashav. Says David HaMelech, make sure in life that you're staying far away from letzim. A letz, a cynic, a doubter, there's no room for that. If you have someone like that in a company, not healthy to have. You're not going to grow. They're always going to doubt. You need people that are believers, people that are optimistic, people that, yes, we can. Yes, we can. You can't allow Amalek's, letzes. They say, well, once two salesmen, they were sent to Africa. The first one went, he spends a few months over there, he writes back, he says, there's no one here that wears shoes. There's no market for shoes. I'm coming home. They sent a second salesman. He says, no one here wears shoes. Huge opportunity. Send inventory. See, you could have the same exact scenario. One guy sees that as deflating. There's no one here, there's no customers. The other one sees that as an amazing opportunity. You could go into a community and you could see that there's no scholarship, there's no Torah learning, and you could say, you see, no one wants to learn. They're not interested in learning. No one wants to grow. There's no interest. You're wasting your time. Or you could be a visionary and you could say, amazing, there's no one here. I'm the only game in town. Let's go. I got this. Send inventory. Let's go. Send the recruits. Let's make some changes. Let's do some growth. Let's inspire. When there's an obstacle, when there's a voice, actually, if there's a voice in your head, if there's an Amalek coming, I'll tell you a little secret. That Amalek is the biggest proof to you that you're on the right track. Because if not, he wouldn't waste his time with you. He wouldn't waste his energy with you. If Amalek's coming, it's because you're doing good. So don't use that as a sign to stop and slow down. Opposite, if Amalek's coming in, if the doubt's entering, that means Amalek sees potential here and he's nervous, he's afraid, he's trying to slow you down. That's right where we come in and we say double down. Oh yeah, Amalek's afraid, that means I'm on the right track. Keep going, faster, full steam ahead. Don't let the voice come in. Because Amalek, he didn't fight us when we were in Egypt. He didn't fight us when we were slaves. He didn't come when we were nobody. He only came after we were freed, after we crossed through the sea. Now Amalek says, wow. There's something not to be afraid of. Nobody trash talks the loser in the game. The guy who's on the bench. Nobody trash talks him. Everyone trash talks the best player. The best player knows if they're yelling at me and booing me in the crowd, the great players, they get pumped from that. They get juiced from that. They're like, yes, you're booing me. That means I'm worth booing. That means you see value. Nobody boos the nobody. Nobody boos the guy who's not good. If they're booing you from the crowd, boo, when you're shooting a free throw, that means because you're the MVP. If they're booing you, it means you're doing great. The voices, the haters, the mockers, that's a sign that you're doing good. Keep going. Maybe you should be worried if there's no signs, if there's no booers. Then you got to wonder, where's everybody? Why is no one trying to knock me down? That's what you should maybe be afraid a little bit. Because the voice, the Amalek, comes precisely when we're doing okay. And actually, when he comes, you tell him, thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the confidence that you're just giving me. I appreciate the boost. I appreciate the insight. Let's fly. That's what you got to do when you see your sea of problems. Your Yam Suf, like Nahshon, you got to plow through. We're going in. And then you see miracles. Don't let the water dissuade you. Don't let people dissuade you. People, unfortunately, don't know what they're talking about. My brother told me one time, Charlie Chaplin, anonymously, he entered a Charlie Chaplin look-alike contest. He entered anonymously. And he came in third. Okay? The guy came in third. Just goes to show you. Most people have no idea what they're talking about. Most people don't know what they're talking about. Don't listen to people. Don't worry about people. So we have to ask ourselves, Shabbat Zachor today, my friends, who's winning? Am I letting Amalek win? Am I going to fight? Am I going to fight? There was once a class of dejected school kids who came from broken homes, poor, and the teacher decided to take them to a house of a very wealthy guy. He owned huge acres and acres on a ranch. And so the teacher takes them to the guy's house, and this very wealthy guy is sitting and he's talking to these kids. And he has on the wall a lot of paintings, but he has one that they realize is special behind the glass, and they see it's a frame, and inside the frame is a paper with a F on top for fail, like a paper that we did a report in school. So one of the kids says, "What is that?" So he looked and he smiled. He said, "I'll tell you." He said, many years ago, I was a little kid, and I was in school like you guys. I didn't have money. I didn't have a healthy home environment. I was in a regular school, kids like me, broken. And one day the teacher made us write a report of what are we going to be one day. So I wrote, one day I'm going to have a huge property with farms and acres. I wrote a whole report. And I handed it to the teacher. The next day the teacher came back to me and he gave me an F. And he said, "This is fiction. I need you to write a non-fiction report, a realistic report of what you're going to be one day." And the kid said, "I told the teacher, you could keep your F. I'm going to keep my dreams." And sure enough, I grew up And now I have the ranch, and I have the horses, and I have the acres. And that's that report. That's the F. You see, in life, you can't let your teachers or other people dictate to you who you're going to become. You can't let Amalek come in. They're nobody. Who are they? They don't have power. You are the only one. You get to decide what you'll be, who you'll be, how you'll be. We are in control. Sometimes, unfortunately, in life, we give over the keys to our lives to other people. And we allow other people to dictate, to decide, to determine. Here you go. Take the key and you tell me what I am, what I'm worth. We look to other people for recognition, for validation. That's Amalek. So this Shabbat, we got to get rid of all of that. Forget what people say. What do you say? What do you think? And of course, it's good to open your ears. It's good to hear criticism, but from people that love you. And criticism always has to be something that can help me tweak, help me improve, constructive. Just because I could improve doesn't mean I'm bad, doesn't mean I stink, doesn't mean I'm not worth anything, that I'm not going to accomplish. Opposite. The best players in the world, they have coaches. They have coaches telling them, fix this, fix that. Okay, I'll fix, it's fine. But I'm a pro, I'm amazing, I'm an athlete, I'm in the game. You got to be in the game. We got to be in the game. And so when Amalek comes, that's actually the greatest sign. He's giving you a little gift, a hint. He's telling you really what he's telling you is you're doing great. That's what really Amalek's saying. May Hashem, Be'ezat Hashem, give us the strength to defeat the Amaleks, the inner, the outer, to continue rising higher and higher, fighting through, pounding through, breaking through. Amen. We'll stop over here. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.